Ladies and gentlemen, the total number of valid second preference votes cast for each of the remaining candidates is as follows. Baker Mike, Independent, Annibanol, 14,520, 14520. Michael Allen Edward, Labour Party candidate, and Gaisif Blaidlafur, 5,372, 5372. The number of ballot papers rejected at the second count is as follows. Want of an official mark, 0. Voting for more than one candidate as to the second preference vote, 24. Writing or mark by which the voter could be identified, 1. Unmarked as to the second preference vote, 3,600, 3600. Void for uncertainty as to the second preference vote, 534. Total rejected ballot papers at second count, 4159. The total number of valid first and second preference votes cast for each of the remaining candidates is as follows. Baker Mike, first preferences 46,264, 46264. Second preferences 14,520. Total 60,784, 60784. Michael Allen Edward, first preferences 66,879. Second preferences 5372. Total 72,251. I therefore give notice that Allen Edward Michael is duly elected as Police and Crime Commissioner for the South Wales Police Area.
Well, thank you very much indeed. Can I start by thanking everybody who's been involved in this whole process, particularly Mike Payne, my agent who had hair when he was first my agent in the constituency and as a volunteer has given me tremendous support through this election. The volunteers and supporters across South Wales in the 16 constituencies and 7 local authority areas that make up the South Wales Police Force. Members of Parliament and Assembly members, particularly Howell Francis, Hugh Davis and David Rees who've been with us today, and all the volunteers of Welsh Labour who provided support. I also want to thank Steve Phillips and all of his staff, both here in Neath Port Talbot and in each of the local authority areas across South Wales, who have been involved in a tiring and long drawn-out process. It's slightly ironic that it's a tradition also to thank the police officers who attend upon election proceedings and may have followed this particular election with even more diligence and interest than is usually the case. I want to thank those who took part in this election as well. The candidates, by taking part, offered themselves to the electorate and ensured that there was a proper process of challenge and choice in this election. The 4 of us who took part in a number of hustings meetings found that while that reached far too small a number of the total electorate, the discussions were illuminating for those who turned up and were undertaken in an atmosphere of mutual respect as well as mutual challenge. That's an important part of the democratic process, and one which sadly played too small a part in modern politics. Now, my first pledge today is to serve and represent the interests of the whole population of South Wales without fear or favour and without bias. I'm pleased that the pledge which the Commissioner is required to take reflects that commitment to serving the public. The second pledge is to place the strongest possible emphasis on the importance of values in the governance of the police, to be tough on crime and tough on the causes of crime, to put cooperative values into practice, not least in encouraging a partnership approach to crime reduction, engaging with local authorities and other agencies, as well as voluntary and community organisations, and the public at large, and those who are elected to represent them, to pursue social justice as well as justice, and to both hold the police to account and protect the police from political interference from whatever quarter. My third pledge is to eradicate the use of the initials PCC in communications with the public and internally. With my wife's help, I found some 13 uses for those pernicious initials, They range from the Parochial Church Council and the Press Complaints Commission to the Peebles Cycling Club and the Polynesian Culture Centre. I do want to make an important point there, because communication should be clear and simple, using words and terminology that's clear and understood by the public, in place of obscure terminology and initials which act as a barrier for anyone who is not within a magic circle of communication. I think there are two things to say about this election, and I hope that lessons will have been learned by the time we come to the second elections at the end of the first term of the Police and Crime Commission, which is when democratic accountability really kicks in. The first is that the government has a responsibility to engage the public with these elections and to make it possible for every elector to understand the alternatives offered by each candidate. It's a matter of regret that what is supposed to be a flagship policy by this government and for the Prime Minister personally was not explained to a public that had deep reservations about it, and it was not promoted or explained. And secondly, by failing to provide free distribution of literature, the government placed an insuperable obstacle in the path of every single candidate. That wasn't just a failure to give a chance for each of us as candidates to communicate directly with the public and to tell the public our values and our policies. It was even more importantly a failure to allow each elector a chance to understand the choice before them. I have to say that the document circulated by the Electoral Commission, the information in this could have been condensed into 2 sheets of paper, and the remaining 2 sheets of paper simply included details of the 4 candidates and how to contact us. And this is obviously not a South Wales issue, it's a national issue, but it's important. And holding the election in November, when canvassing is difficult and people's confidence to come to the door at night is at its lowest ebb, the government almost guaranteed the low turnout which we've seen overnight. The real test will be when the next election comes, and I hope that those lessons will be learned, and all candidates who offer themselves on the next occasion will be able to communicate with the whole of the electorate across the South Wales constituency in every one of the 41 police force areas, so that it's a proper, decent, well-promoted, well-encouraged election. But the decision has been taken today. I will take the responsibilities enormously seriously. I look forward to working with the Chief Constable to ensure that the South Wales Police continue to do something they've been doing in recent years, which is to improve performance and the service to the public, even during a time of extremely challenging cuts. Thank you all very much indeed for your attention.
Thank you. My speech is going to be a heck of a lot shorter than that. I had prepared an alternate speech, but really that will not now be good. I want to congratulate Alan on his election as Police Commissioner for South Wales. This was a hard-fought and closely run election. It was carried out in the best of spirits by all those who took part. I want the communities of South Wales, who have now decided who their Commissioner will be, to support that election, to do what is right in relation to the Commissioner's office and give him the necessary support to be able to do his job as it should be done. And I ask you to support him. Thank you very much indeed.